It's a big welcome to Red Star Raceway today for the final round of the historic and inland championships here at the Dalmas circuit. 4 kilometers of black stuff to go and play on today, and a couple of championships that are going to still be wrapped up in the cards for today's race action. Coming to you live from Dalmas in Mpumalanga. It's about 70 kilometers outside of Johannesburg in South Africa. If you're joining us on the worldwide live stream link that we've put up. Out on track at the moment is our first category we're going to be covering today. That is the Charlie Super Spar Historic Saloon. And, of course, that is the Pursuit Series that are on track at the moment. They come round. It's a handicapped race. We'll get into how that format all works in a few minutes' time. But just to run through how things are going to be running today, we've got the Historic Pursuit Series that's on track. We're going to be covering the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. We're looking at the Lotus Challenge, the Universal Healthcare Pre-80 Saloons and Pre-90 Sports and GTs. And then also a little bit of action coming out of the Clubmans and Midval Historics. So that's how things line up for today. And looking forward to some big action here at Red Star Raceway from our live stream coverage. There you can see they're lined up in reverse order of how they qualified. It's basically a handicapped version of motorsport, which, if you've never seen before, is based on, of course, a little bit of mathematician work that happens in the back. And in the back rooms of the race day, they basically put everything together and teach guys go and allocate their lap times of what they've done in qualifying, and then allocate what they should be doing in the race times. And then they have to try and stick to that or below. Otherwise, they go into a breakout scenario. Rob Clark is, of course, the man who was on pole position and will start things out there. He's in the Citroen out on the front row there. As you can see, right behind him will be Clive Winterstein in the Porsche. And then the rest of the pack line up just behind that for their final 2 races of the day here at Red Star Raceway. So in a few minutes' time, those cars will start to move off. I can see the flagman about to give the go-ahead to the Citroen. And there goes Rob, starting things out here for our day's action, heading down to what is going to be an incredible day's racing and awesome stuff as well. Looking forward to all the race action later on, as I said, amongst some of the saloon car categories we're covering today, and of course the Lotus Challenge as well. But if you want to be following us, of course, you've picked up on the right link at the moment, and looking forward to seeing what's going to be happening out there on the black stuff here at Red Star Raceway. Originally a purpose-built motorcycle circuit, remember? And now, of course, with the last couple of seasons, including cars as well. So Rob's out on track already into turn 4, and Clive Winterstein has not even been set off just yet. So that's how things work with this format of racing. Your allocated lap times, of course, will set you up into the grid positions. There you can see him on track, trying to push that Citroen as fast as he can get it to go, and trying not to break out of the allotted times that he has given himself. I'll get into those allocated times in a few minutes' time as soon as we get some more cars on track. And looking forward to seeing lots of race action here today as we kick things off for the day's action for this final round of the Historic Tour and the Inland Championships. So Rob Clark already making his way down into what is known as the dog bone section of the circuit as the second car gets sent on its way there. Clive Winterstein in the Porsche makes his way out onto the circuit now for the first bit of action for his day's racing. If I pick up on what was sent to me by Rob Van Aal, who of course is involved with the allocated times for this category, it'll be interesting to see whether or not they've gone with the lap times. Rob Clark in the Citroen GS 1220 Club. He's allocated himself 174.2 seconds breakout, and his qualifying, of course, nominated a 176.8. So interesting to see how those guys have played around with their lap times. Winterstein now in full flight. Third car on track as well. That is Tiaan van Rooyen. He's in the 924 Porsche. And waiting to go here just below us in the commentary area will be Josh de Klerk in the Honda Civic. Clark goes across the line, and as he goes across the line, they send the fourth car on its way. The Honda Civic there of Tiaan van Rooyen. He makes his way out onto the track for his first bit of action in this, what is going to be 8 laps. Basically all the races today, other than the one category we're not covering, of course, is the NX Legends, are 8-lap races here at Red Star Raceway. Porsche heading down towards the bottom end of the circuit and into the dog bone as we get our next car off and running. And that's Frans Venter in the 280ZX Nissan. Closely followed by Wynand du Plessis Sr. in the Porsche 944 Turbo. And that 944 was actually the car that won at the previous round at Swartkops. Cole Leclerc in the 300ZX is followed very shortly there by Werner Hutzenberg, and he's decided to go and participate this time in the 916 Porsche. Then it's Devin Martin. Devin Martin hangs his way around in a Datsun GX, and that's a little GX Coupe. Right behind him will be Sean Hepburn in the 4-door version, the 1200 Deluxe Datsun GX there. Shane Forget is piloting, of course, the Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. And we'll see that car in action not only here in the historic Pursuit Series with Forget behind the wheel, but a little bit later on in the historic Saloons. And that'll have Andre Danhauser at the wheel. So a little bit of a sharing of the drive there between those two good friends of the circuit, and of course driving together in the Super Hatch category as well. Car Care Clinics class that was wrapped up last week at Swartkops, and the two of them now in there. It'll be quite cool to see as we get a great shot into the dog bone of Josh getting it almost onto 3 wheels in the Honda Civic and unlapping himself from Rob Clark. So the first part of that unlapping has now happened. So it looks like we're going to have some fun and games. We've got a little hound dog in the background here as well, giving us a little bit of a thrill too, loving life as we're getting into the day's race action. 280ZX is also a very, very good car there. Stephen Walker's just joined us all the way from Australia. Thanks very much for joining us, bud. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Uniglide Lubricants, and of course Uniglide Lubricants I think are involved with the Eminence team a bit later on, so we'll get to see them in action a bit later. But big welcome to you there, Steve, and thanks for joining us all the way from down under. Must be about probably about 8:30 or 9 o'clock there in Australia, if I'm not mistaken, in the evening. If I'm right, give us a shout out and let's see how we go there for the day. So Rob Clark leads out at this point in time. Winterstein still in second place. And it's Tiaan van Rooyen still in the 3rd spot there. Josh de Klerk, who's just crossed the line in front of me, he sits down in 4th. But he has unlapped himself on Clark, who set the pace right from the word go. The scratch car, I think if I'm not mistaken, had a little bit of issues. Yeah, the Volkswagen Sirocco, if we get a chance, might be able to see it parked on the sideline, but it's just on the opposite side of... you actually don't see it on this camera, unfortunately. Our camera on the bridge is locked out, but right below our second camera position is Rian Roux in the Volkswagen Sirocco, who was the scratch car, the fastest car, and the last starter, but he actually didn't start. He unfortunately has parked it on the sideline and out of race number 1 now for Charlie Super Spar Historic Pursuit Series. Hepburn crosses the line. Nice run there from Sean Hepburn so far. Hepburn already up into 10th place, made up a couple of positions off the line. Running a little bit wide there was Devin Martin coming out of turn 2 and into turn 3. We're waiting for a car, of course, to come through there. Oh, out of shape Hepburn up at turn 2. Out of turn 2, turn 3 there, we got a little bit out of shape action there coming from Sean Hepburn as he pushed it to the limit. There you go. The man who was, of course, number 1 in Class F last year in the Universal Healthcare Historic Saloon Car category. Unfortunately, just getting a little bit wrong as he went out of turn 2 into turn 3. Can happen and usually does. It's difficult with those two back-to-back, almost 180-degree corners. It's back on track, though, fortunately, and tucked in now behind Shane Forget in the Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. Daryl, if we do get a chance to have a look at that Toyota Corolla, I want to try and get a shot of the rear of that Toyota Corolla because he's gone with the whole, that yellow one that's in shot right now, he's gone with the whole COVID scenario on his decals. And on the back of the car, it actually says the coronavirus, which is quite lacquer. So if we get a chance to see that, we'll try and pick that up for you guys. It's a bit of fun and games there between Shane Forget and Andre Danhauser in that Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. not giving Sean Hepburn any run for his money here and not letting him get away, that is for sure. You see him starting to close things down there. The second of those 300ZXs there, that's Henk de Klerk in the black one, starting to put the pressure onto the back end of Forget. It says Danhauser on the left-hand side. That's remember because Andre Danhauser will be in the car later on in the historic saloon car category, and Shane Forget will be in it here for the Pursuit Series. So we've got 2 laps completed according to what I'm seeing here on our race monitor. If you want to pick up on the live timing, it is going out via Speed Hive. So if you also want to see what the timing is doing as well as what's happening on screen. Unfortunately, we don't have the ability to put the live timing up today on the screens. But we definitely are going to bring you all of the action that we can today from the historic and Inland Championship final race meeting of 2020. Ooh, Porsche out of shape as well. So it looks like Tian van Rooyen getting a little bit wrong as he headed down into the dog bone section. Tire squealing, which means that we're not hitting the apexes. You can hear that in the background. Guys trying to find those apexes all day long today. It's not easy to find them here at Red Star Raceway, particularly in four-wheelers. As I said, purpose-built motorcycle circuit originally, and now that four-wheelers have been given a chance to come and play here, you got to go with the sort of the adage of slow in and fast out on most corners here at the Red Star Raceway, particularly when it comes to front-wheel drive. Hepburn still maintaining a small margin over Andre Danhauser. It says Danhauser, but it's actually Shane Forget in the car. So also just to pick up on the timing there and the timers. On your lap time, it'll say Andre Danhauser in 12th place, but it's actually Shane Forget behind the wheel of that Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. Across the line, Winterstein completes another lap, and he will be into his third one of asking here of the 8 that are scheduled for this one. 6-4, getting completely wrong there. Devin Martin is finding it very difficult to get his machine around this. That little Datsun GX Coupe is understeering properly into most corners there. Josh heads into the Bridgestone chicane and comes back along the main straightaway to complete another lap as well, sitting down in 4th place at this point. Another lap down as well there for Frans Venter in the 280ZX. And right on his tail, Van Duplessis Sr. in the Porsche 944. Colin Leclerc starting to close in on the back of those two as well in the first of those big 300ZXs as opposed to the 280ZX up the road from him. And then Werner Hutzenberg in his 916 today as opposed to his normal choice of steed for this category, and that would be the 928 Porsche that he usually pilots. So if you've just joined us here on our live feed, big welcome to everybody here on YouTube and on Facebook. If you haven't got Facebook, of course, we have sent out a YouTube link as well, so you can watch it on the YouTube link. A big welcome to everybody that's joined us on those 2 links. But if you are not quite a fay with handicap racing, the layman's explanation of how this works is the slowest car starts first, the fastest car starts last. They start line astern on the grid. And basically, if the calculations are correct, and the mathematicians behind the scenes have got it all right, by the time all the cars cross the line, they should be side by side with the percentages that have been put into place for the historic Pursuit Series. Clive Winterstein started to close in on the back end of Rob Clark. Now Rob Clark still maintaining the lead in that 1220 Citroen of his. You can see on the side of the car it also says Sorrel van der Merwe. And what's his Sorrel? And the reason for that is Sorrel van der Merwe at one stage in his racing career actually piloted a similar version to that car. And that car, of course, being done in Sorrel van der Merwe colours. Forget down towards turn 1. And a little bit of action now starting to be felt as the quicker cars start to come in amongst the slower ones. Remember, they all have to sort of get past that lead car of Rob Clark's and then unlap themselves. And then, of course, go and pass it a second time to ensure that they get to the front end of this field. So if I look at the way things have gone here with the allocations, breakout times of a 174 would be just under 3 minutes. 180 being 3 minutes, so 174 would be a 254-ish. And Rob Clark at this point in time is currently lapping in the 302s. He's done a best lap of a 257, so he's well within the allocated times that he's nominated as his breakout. Clive Winterstein at the moment doing 243s, so that would drop him down, and he's allocated himself 159 seconds, which is 2 minutes. Let me just make sure they 239s, and he's doing 243s, so he's okay. 236s for Tiaan van Rooyen, and Tiaan van Rooyen currently doing 241s, so they're all okay. Frans Venter at this point in time is currently, just trying to get my timing monitor to stay upright here for a little bit. If I can. Frans Venter currently lapping in the 226s, and he's allocated himself 226.8. So Frans Venter could be in a bit of trouble there. A 226.8 is Frans Venter's breakout time, and currently he's doing a 226.1. So Venter could be in a bit of trouble for breaking out there in his 280ZX, but he's under pressure already now from Duplessis Senior, and of course Cola de Klerk. That's the shot we have right now into turn 3. And that white 280ZX has already broken out of his allocated breakout time. Let's see if de Klerk and Duplessis have done the same. So Cola is allocated at 225.7, and Cola at this point in 225.4 is also broken out. Wynand Duplessis 225.9, and he's on a 26 dead. So he's on the limit, on the very limit of breaking out here is Wynand Duplessis Senior. But both of the Nissans have, according to my understanding, broken out of their breakout of their allotted times on what I'm seeing as their best lap times and what they've put onto the start list here as their breakout times. So could be in a bit of trouble there, the two Nissans. Werner Hartzenberg, he's allocated 225.3 as his breakout, and currently Hartzenberg doing 228s. So well within grasp of getting to the front end of this race and still doing some damage, potentially still taking a race win with about 3.5 laps to go. Just trying to pick up on our leader. He's coming down the back straight right now as we're watching big action there between Van Rooyen, Devin Martin and Josh de Klerk into the dog bone. Amazing to think as well that the camera we're watching there from the dog bone section was the same camera we had set up at Swartkops last week that gave us hell. So it definitely was some interference coming from somewhere else that caused us some issues with the live stream feed at Swartkops last weekend. But certainly no interference at this point in time here at Red Star Raceway. Leader's just gone across the line at this point in time. Still Rob Clark on a 257 this time out. And he's allowed to do 254. So he's well within his allocated lap times. And he's now started his 6th lap of 8. Clark in the foreground. In the background is Sean Hepburn. Nice little switch out there from our cameraman, watching the leader and the man down in 12th place at this point in time. That's, of course, the man who's quickest on track is Hepburn, looking to try and close things down. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to close in on the main pack. But as Rob Clark heads, here's he heading into? He's heading into the short straight. And the quicker cars now starting to come into turn 5, which is the entrance point to that short straight. So they are going to catch and pass Rob Clark within the next 2 laps. As I said, the two Nissans unfortunately look like they've broken out of their allotted times. So both Cola de Clack and Franz Venter may not be classified. It's all, of course, unofficially right now, but it's working on what I've been sent by Rob Van Aal from the historic group, as well as what I'm seeing in front of me on the lap times that these guys are doing. Change up between Cola and France. Cola de Clack using the 300ZX just to squeeze through there on the 280ZX Nissan. And has the favour returned on him almost instantaneously. But knowing that dog bone section well, it's left, right that you've got to go through. And the final corner is right. You've got to be on the inside line, which Cola's done, and squeezes through there. There is our scratch car. It should be Rion Rue's Volkswagen Sirocco, but that mint green machine of his is parked on the sideline just across the road from where I'm commentating from and didn't make it out there for the first heat. Must have been some kind of issue that he picked up just before the race start. Shane Forget still piloting on nicely as well, still in 11th place, trying to close down on Tian Vermeulen. And Forget, if I look at the way things have gone, allocated himself a 221 breakout, and he is currently lapping in the 225, so he's also spot on in terms of his lap times he's able to do in that Toyota Corolla. So here they come across the line, and it looks like Rob Clark has been caught and passed now by the leaders. We should have a new leader crossing the line. It should be Wynand du Plessis Sr., who will take over the lead spot as he comes to complete lap number 6 of 8. So 2 to go for these guys. Just waiting for that timing monitor that's we're working on Race Hive, Speed Hive I should say, to update itself. It's a little slow at this point in time, but that should be 6 of 8 that they've completed. It might be 7 of 8 though, because our timing monitor is not refreshing itself, although it is ticking by here. Also going to just keep an eye out on our marshal in front of me, just in case we see a change up. So that's our leader right now in shot. Just waiting for it to refresh. It's still telling me that Rob Clark is at the front end of this race, which I don't think is the case. He's been caught and passed now by Wynand du Plessis Sr. in that 944 Porsche. And I think they're on their last lap here, Daryl. They could be on their last lap because this timing monitor is not refreshing. There you go. It's just refreshed again as I said that. So Speed Hive seems to be having a little bit of issues on the speed of the delivery of the timing that we are getting. But they're on the last lap. I can see the checkered flag lady waiting with that checkered flag. And heading down towards the final corner, Bridgestone chicane. It's Wynand du Plessis who's got to try and stay within his allocated lap times of 226 deads. He's doing 225s. He's also broken out. So Wynand du Plessis Sr., the Porsche that's going to get the checkered flag, unfortunately he's going to have broken out of his allocated times. He's done a 225.4 and he allocated a 226 dead. So he's gone 0.6 of a second quicker than what his allocated time was, which means he will not be classified. And this is, of course, all unofficially. Right on his tail is Cola de Clack, also in trouble with the timekeepers, because his allocated time of Cola de Clack's was a 225.7 and he's currently lapping in the 222s. Franz Venter is in trouble as well, according to my understanding. So third place could possibly be out of contention as well, which means Rob Clark, unless Devin Martin has done anything out of the ordinary, Rob Clark could still take the victory here. Devin Martin allocated a 224.3. Werner Hartzenberg allocated a 225.3. So Devin Martin 224.1 is out of his allocation. 227.7. Hartzenberg, according to me, will take the victory. So Werner Hartzenberg will take the victory. They're not breaking out of his allocated times in the Porsche 916. And second, maybe Andre Danhauser, or not Andre Danhauser, beg your pardon, Shane Forget. Forget allocated a 221.3 and completed the last one, 225. So yeah, Werner Hartzenberg will take the victory, according to me, even though he finishes 5th on the timing monitor. Andre Danhauser's car with Shane Forget at the wheel will get 2nd place. And if Josh de Klerk stayed within the 2-minute 30 that he was able to do, which he did, we'll get 3rd. And that, of course, is unofficial. We'll get those official results from Rob Van Aal in a few minutes' time, and I'll bring them back to you over the air. But that's our first race done for the day. Up next, we're going to be going into the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. That's in a few minutes' time. And we'll leave you with the sights and sounds of Red Star Raceway until we get action again on track for 8 laps of the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. Welcome back to coverage here from the Inland and Historic final round of 2020's Championship and the final round of the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series, making its way onto the circuit as we speak and also down onto the grid. Great to see a nice field of cars that have come to join us for this final round of the championship. To kick things off, we're also going to say a sad farewell to a man who's been behind the series for a long, long time. The big boss man from Bridgestone, Jan Maritz, who unfortunately passed away during the week. And we wish him and all his family all the very best at this trying time. And from BMW Car Club Racing Series and any of the Bridgestone categories that have been involved in motorsport in South Africa, right from the Bridgestone touring cars and, of course, the Bridgestone production cars that were involved for a long, long time, right down to the current categories racing in motorcycle championships around South Africa. All the very best from us here at the team covering the final round of this championship, our live stream team, as well as everybody here at Red Star Raceway. To Jan Maritz and his family, a big, big, sad day for South African motorsport. But of course, he would not want to dwell on those kind of aspects. He would be looking forward to what is going to be happening out on the circuit in this first heat of racing in the BMW Car Club Racing Series. And it's Darren Winterboer, a man who was in amongst the Ferraris, Lamborghinis, McLarens, and Audis and Porsches last weekend at the final round of the Extreme Festival, has now brought the Barons Motorspares BMW to the front row of the grid. And that's, of course, with his spare engine, having broken that engine last weekend at Swartkop. So nice to see the man from Bulawayo up in Zimbabwe has come and joined us. Once again, now that the borders have opened, he's been able to get back down here to do some race action in last week's G&H Transport Extreme Supercars and this week's BMW Car Club Racing Series. He's on pole. Alongside him will be Leon Lopesha. That's definitely a man to watch out for in terms of BMW racing and has a very, very good turn of pace at this particular circuit. Len Henry Gobi in the G&H Transport Extreme BMW is right there as well, and of course looking to push through in that Z4. And alongside him is the man who was king last year and is still looking to take that number one plate and hopefully retain it after a great season, is Andreas Meyer. Jan Everstein and Sav Guterri make up the third row of the grid. Behind them will be Carlo Garbini and Matthew Wadley. It's Ian Cotwell and Oz Baggioni, the pool man, our pool specialist there on the fifth row of the grid, just ahead of Rainier Smith and Lyle Ramsey. It's Dino Familiaris and Alan Hilligan, and Rob Gearing, Neil Reynolds making up row number 9. Row 10, it's Varish Gunpath and Troy Cochran, and the final row made up of William Einkammerer and Shane Grobler. Look at how far it goes back, though, right back into that Bridgestone chicane. We are now under starters' orders. As you can see, Wally Pappas, our COC, is giving the thumbs up and that we are ready to go. We're going to be led around the circuit for the warm-up lap by none other than Supergroup's magnificent Polo GTI, and great to see the Supergroup getting behind the series yet again and supporting the BMW Car Club Racing Series with that magnificent little Polo GTI safety car and pace car today for this category. Thanks to Corley and her team. They're actually here in the house as well, and not only supporting on-track action, but also supporting with a little bit of action on the sidelines as well, and standing on the wall at this point trying to get a little bit of a video to post up, I'm sure, on Supergroup later on. So thanks again, once again, to the team from Supergroup for joining us today as our official safety car and pace car for the BMW Car Club Racing Series. Proudly sponsored by Bridgestone for a long, long time now, and maintaining the effort that was put in by the late great Jan Maritz in keeping this category up and running. Cars rolling down now for the first time in towards turn 1 and getting ready to go for 8 laps of action in the BMW Car Club Racing Series. A lot more cars right at the back of the field as well that weren't on the grid that I was given, the revised grid here, but needless to say, we'll pick up on those cars as we get into the thick of it. And into the thick of it we're about to do, that is for sure, as the Supergroup Polo GTI leads them around. They'll do the short version of the circuit right now. It's a 4-kilometer circuit here at Red Star Raceway. And they do the shortened version of the track to do the warm-up lap on. They'll bring all the cars under starters' orders. I think they're going to do the shortened version, or are they? Okay, they're going to do the full long version. Sorry, they normally do the short version, but they are getting another full warm-up lap. Hope those guys realize it, because some of these guys run their fuel limits to the limit. And I hope they've got enough in there to realize that there may have been an additional lap that was not possibly proposed from the word go. However, I'm sure that's all been sorted out and they'll be ready to rock and roll now. A big welcome to two brand new guys to the series there. Fabio Fedetto, mainly involved in some time trials as part of the club. And he's converted his M4 into a race car now as we're watching Leon Lopscher go down into the Dogbone section. And also Hein van der Merwe, who's also joined from the Kyle Army track day and decided to go and buy himself a race car. They're not going to be classified for this one, but they'll be classified just after the qualifying session, and they'll be put into the back of the grid for both races, as it is their first race event for the year. And their first race event, hopefully, of many. So a big welcome there to Fabio Fedetto and to Hein van der Merwe joining this really cool club. Okay, I'll try and speak up. I'm not talking live here, Tripod. I'm just talking to everybody on Facebook land and YouTube land at this point in time. But if you want to listen, you want to come join, come sit here with pleasure, buddy. Come and sit right here, buddy. And then you can at least see what's happening. It's all good. So a big welcome to everybody who has joined us out there on social media. We are going live via various platforms today, including Up to 60 Seconds and the Voice of Choices page. That's going to be cross-posted and shared, I'm sure, onto a whole bunch of other pages out there. My money's on that truck, though, Travis, I got to say. That truck went past that Polo GTI like it was looking for parking, but that back straightaway looks pretty good when you got a 18-wheeler going past you, eh? No, don't get too alarmed if you have just joined us on the live stream. That is the N12 highway. It runs parallel to the back straight here, which is almost a kilometre long at Red Star Raceway. So if you see cars going in the opposite direction, don't get too alarmed. It is not the racetrack. It is the highway that runs parallel to the racetrack on the far side. They're under starters orders now coming into the Bridgestone chicane. And now we're going to see if it's going to be Lopscher or Winterboer who's able to get into turn one and possibly spoil the day there for each other. Darren Winterboer has come off a very big high, having not had a lot of race seat time this year, being stuck in Zimbabwe during the lockdown scenario, and eventually got back out in his Barron's Motorspares BMW at Swartkops last weekend and had a great battle in amongst the Audis and Porsches at the front end there of the G&H Transport Extreme Supercars. Right, we're under starters orders now. Rolling start up to Darren Winterboer to dictate the pace, waiting for the lights to go. Lights do go out, almost as I say it, and down towards turn one they go for the very first time. Sounds of BMWs in full flight flying past me as they go into turn one. It is Darren Winterboer who leads out. Great start from Gobi. Len Henry Gobi has just squeezed out Andreas Meyer. And Meyer now just tucked in there in the Sat car, diving into fourth place and keeping the rest of the pack at bay. But Winterboer leads out. He's got Lopscher about 4 cars back. Already some pressure being applied there by Jan Everstein onto the back end of Andreas Meyer. And Sav Gutteri in the mix almost instantaneously with Carlo Garbini. Ian Cotwell not too far behind that one. And then we go to Oz Baggioni. He also had a fantastic start there off the line. Baggioni trying to close down there on the 2 Sav speed cars just up the road from him. And also try and get up there with Jan Everstein. So it's all good to go as we start things out here for the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. It's a nice shot there of the different angles of cars coming out of that turn 4 and into turn 5. Turn 5 is almost a complex. It's a triple left-hander, 3 apexes to that corner. Very difficult to get right, particularly when you're in a race car. Not too bad on a motorcycle, but on a race car makes it very difficult, and particularly on the rear-wheel drive cars like we're seeing right now. Going to make it a little bit of a slide session there, almost a drift session. And we'll see some drifters in action a bit later on as my good friend Vic Pardle has joined some of the race teams this weekend. And as pardon, look at that, that's a great shot. Nice work there, Daryl, giving us the various angles of BMWs in attack at almost 5 different sections of the Red Star Raceway. And in the background there, the Suzuki Swift Own It banner is being given a bit of coverage too. De Gavaya at the back there, of course, the boss man behind the series, the chairman of the club, and does all the background work to get this series up and running. It's great to have them putting their money where their mouths are and joining us again on our live stream coverage here. And they loved all the work that we did the last time out, which is why they're back for more. And I'm sure that Bridgestone are going to be pretty happy with this as well as we head into the first lap completed here by Darren Winterboer. This time out, we don't have to worry about, of course, breakout times. The fast times that are going to be set here are the times that we're expecting to see. That's an impressive time coming out of Darren Winterboer as well. From the rolling start, getting down to a 2-minute dead So showing what that BMW's pace is like. Leon Loubser in second, a 2:02.5. Len Henry Goby doing a 2:05.5 and a 2:07 from the champ. Andreas Meyer just ahead of Gauthier, and then Jan Everstein. Paulo Garbini falling back into the clutches now of Ian Cotwell in the 2:35i. Cotwell, if you recall, last time he had Red Star Raceway, had a big moment down into turn 1. So we'll look to possibly not emulate his actions from the last time out. Got that expel cling film on the car, keeping it really looking good out there. And of course, all the scratches and dents that could come out of racing will be expelled by that. They're also part and parcel, of course, of Team Perfect Circle. So good to see them getting involved with a couple of categories and different cars involved in those categories as well, with that awesome film that you can put onto your car. And it makes for a good difference on your road-going car as well, for stone chips, etc. They are running slightly wide there. That's a better line coming out of Gauthier. And the Sav Speed machine just squeezing through there. Salvi is slowly but surely closing on the back end of Andreas Meyer. Hasn't found a way past just yet. Troy Cochrane in the background as well, picking up on his machine as they come into the dog bone. Then it's Rob Gehring. Rob Gehring running those very famous German touring car styled colours. And he's just currently out of the top 15. Further back there, the 011 car. And a nice start there from that man. That's Manny Ribeiro. But further back in the pack there, just ahead of Nicholas van Zyl and, of course, Bernard de Gavea. Clippy Stricker starting to make his way through there. Ian Kamara has made up a lot of ground. He's moved up to 18th place on the tailpiece there of Varash Gunpath, who is also looking to close things down there, of course, on Rob Gehring that we just mentioned. So Winterburg now, 1:59.4, 59.7 coming out of Leon Loubser. But you can see the difference in the pace there between the two cars as we're watching Salvi Gauthier now come across the line. Andreas Meyer is falling backwards. Salvi Gauthier and Jan Everstein have got through there on the number 1 car. As we watch further back, Lyle Ramsey under attack from Troy Cochrane. Dino Familiaris just up the road from the two of them in the all-black car. In the pack as well. And coming across the line, that is 171 Shane Krobler, if I'm not mistaken. He's just ahead there of Manny Ribeiro and Nicholas van Zyl. 29 cars starting. We had 2 that didn't quite make it out onto the grid. One was Hein van der Merwe, the man I mentioned earlier on as a newcomer to the series. Didn't quite make it out, and neither did Neil Reynolds. So 31 cars entered, but only 29 on track as we speak. Picking up on Alan Helligen there. Best number on track there, 27, fighting with Rob Gehring. And Varish Gunpath just behind them. Morning, Bren. Thanks for joining us, buddy. Looks like Brendan Kelly's joined us all the way from the Eastern Cape. Thank you very much for your support, bud. We do appreciate anybody that's joined us on our live stream, and a big welcome to you and anybody else down in the Eastern Cape watching the action here from Red Star Raceway. Andreas Meyer is doing everything he can, but unfortunately he's fallen by the wayside and out of the position he was in at the start, down to 6th place now, allowing both Salvi Gauthier and Jan Everstein through. Leader back into the Bridgestone chicane once again in the Barron's Auto Spares BMW. Fast Developments do the preparation on that car. And you can see how well that development is working to make that car go fast. Leon Loubser's got an exceptionally good car underneath him as well. Take nothing away from Loubser's BMW. That is a very, very fast car that Loubser pilots around here. It's got a 335i underneath him. And not only does he use that car for the BMW Car Club Racing Series, but also participates in time attack events in that machine as well. Looks like one place back there for Andreas Meyer. Picking up on action into turn 3 and 4 as we're watching guys coming across the line. There you go. That's the action we need to thanks Daryl. That's the one I want. And see the leader coming into the dogbone section, but we're just watching for Andreas Meyer's return into the top 5. Meyer back into the top 5 there, ahead of Jan Everstein. As Winterburg controls things from the front. Lyle Ramsey Also under a bit of pressure there from Troy Cochrane. Ramsey at this point in time 13th on track, the 116 car just ahead there of Troy Cochrane. There is Meyer. So Andreas Meyer now, as I said, has returned the favour, and the German has got through on Jan Everstein. He's now looking to close down on the other man who got through on him earlier on there, Salvi Gutteri. And the Savspeed BMW will have to keep firm eyes on those rearview mirrors for the return there of the man who was king last year in the number 1 car, driving that the Sat car BMW, originally in the South African Touring Car Series, piloted by Dion Jabert at one point in time, but a slightly modified version of that car now, although it's the original engine that participated in that category. He's got the big diffuser on the back and, of course, a slightly different wing to what they were allowed to use in that class, but needless to say, that's the car we're talking about right now. It was the Enviro car that BMW ran, and in its day, at one point in time, used to have Oblix on the side of that car with a big Menor on his back, because they had to put additional weight into that car because it was so fast to keep it within the rules of what was then the South African Touring Car Series. Len Henry Gobi controlling things in 3rd place. No worries for him. That is 2nd place man Leon Loubser in the 335i. 62 but further in the pack there. That's Bertie Rietveld having some fun there with Colin Van Sant just up the road from him in the 000 BMW Car Club customer car. So that is 2nd place Leon Loubser going down into the dog bone section. No worries at all for him so far in that 2nd spot. Currently lapping 52 minutes and 1 second. Fastest lap of the race so far, Darren Winterboer, our leader, as we've got to the halfway stage on a 1:58.9. This is a great battle. Rob Gearing on the inside. Gearing has a big look on the inside there, trying to find a way through, and can't quite make it stick there on Alan Hilligan. The Winfield BMW, this great nice shot there as well, being lapped by the Barron's Auto Spares car. Carlos Camara just unfortunately losing out there to the slightly bigger and more powerful car. That's the battle I want to see there, Daryl. Thanks, buddy. That's Alan Hilligan in the 27 car fighting with Rob Gearing. Gearing had to go into turn 4, and he's still there. And so is the car on their tail. So Varish Gunpath now putting the pressure, as well as Rob Gearing, onto the back end of Alan Hilligan. The two of them making him work in his rearview mirrors all the time. Hilligan in that orange number 27. Under attack there. And you can see, not going to make it easy for them. Oh, and there's Varish Gunpath having a look as well. Gunpath has a big dive on the inside. Further up the pace. That's Matt Wadley on Cotwell. Wadley diving into the Bridgestone chicane and outguns the 235i. So a change up for what is 9th place on track. Wadley moving into the 8th spot. Cotwell down to 9. Fisher further back in that pack as well, about to be caught by these guys. Looks like Smith also going to be caught by that little pack of cars. Battle raging at the moment there for Andreas Meyer. He's caught the back end of Salvi Gutteri. And they're going down the short straightaway as we're watching the main straight here, and cars completing their laps now. We've done 5 in anger. Battle for what is now 4th place, heading into the dog bones. So into the dog bones where we want to be, Daryl. The red BMW. Big action all the way through this field as well. We're trying to get all of it as well, as that battle heads into the dog bone. That's the 3rd place car there of Len Henry Gobi. Massive turnaround there for Gobi, and the pace of that Z of his coming into pit lane. Retirement for the 222 there. So Clippy Stricker retiring that car, unfortunately. And issues there for the 000 as well. So some problems there, unfortunately, for 2 cars. Colin Van Sant Is he going to make it into pit lane? Looks like he's going to just miss the pit lane. He should have tried to go in there, but unfortunately parks it right at the pit entry. Another car moving out of the way, I think, just to allow the quicker cars through, and also retiring. So a bit of a race of attrition here in the last part of this race. 3 BMWs into pit lane in the space of about 30 seconds. Turn 1. Heading towards turn 1 now. That's the battle I want to see. Salvi Gutteri fighting for 4th place with Andreas Meyer as they go into turn 1 now. They've just crossed the line. And they're not going to catch Darren Winterboer or the first 3. Those 2 are too far ahead. The battle for 4th place starting to heat up as we're watching the 335. There are Bernard de Gavea at the back. Heading towards turn 4. Gavea into the dog bone. Red BMW of... Oh, Gutteri out of shape. Salvi Gutteri getting out of shape there. We were watching the 335. We're just waiting for our cameraman to pan across to pick up on that action. They're out of turn 5. There it is. That's the one we want. So into the short straightaway now. And Everstein has got through again on Andreas Meyer. Meyer comes up the inside of Everstein onto the brakes. And into the hairpin, returns the favour. Can he hang on to that inside line? Force Jan Everstein onto the high line. He's going to try and do that. Carlo Garbini has joined them as well. So a 4-way battle for 4th place there between Gutteri, Meyer, Everstein, and Garbini. Yellow flags waving there just to warn the drivers that there is this car stricken on the pit entry. Leaders coming through and completing another lap. We're on to the last lap now for the leaders. Last lap there for Darren Winterboer as he goes into turn 2 and 3. Battle we want to be watching is coming onto the back straight though, and that'll be for 4th place. 4th place heading to the Bridgestone chicane now. Still Salvi Gutteri, Jan Everstein. And just saw it in the background of the shot there actually. But Darren Winterboer doing it all right from the front. Currently lapping in the 2:03.5s, but his fastest of the race, a 1:58.9. So the Bulawayo bomber showing us what he's made of. Battle for 4th just goes underneath me and down towards turn 1. So we're watching Winterboer heading to the dog bone. The battle continues there for 4th place. 4th place certainly heating up into turn 4 and 5 now. Darren Winterboer doing a superb job at this point in time, controlling things from the front, literally from the word go, has not been bettered. Rob Gearing still behind Alan Hilligan there. No change up for those cars as they pass underneath me. But we're watching our leader. We're probably going to take him to the line and then we'll pick up on the action for 4th place and maybe a bit further back there between Lyle Ramsey and Troy Cochrane, who are also still in a big battle there for what is going to be 12th place on track. Checkered flag is on standby and it's going to be the Bulawayo bomber. The Barron's Auto Spares BMW prepped by Fast Developments coming across the line for race 1 win in the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series here at Red Star Raceway. Leon Lopes is going to take 2nd place comfortably in the end ahead of Len Henry Gobi. Good move on the inside. Oh, we got a change up. Change up in that little battle. Nice to see that right in the closing stages as I was talking about. Gearing and Hilligan still going at it. 3rd place coming across the line there should be Len Henry Gobi. Battle for 4th coming to the line right now. Coming to the line right now is the battle for 4th place. Is it going to be Salvi Gutteri? It is. Salvi Gutteri going to hang on. Beating out Andreas Meyer, who beats out Jan Everstein. A superb battle between those 3 cars. And then if we go back, we might be able to pick up on that action between Rob Gearing and Hilligan. The orange BMW there of Hilligan just maintaining a small margin over Rob Gearing at this point with a couple of corners still to go. There it is. In fact, Gearing has got through. So out of the dog bone on the last lap, Rob Gearing has found a way past on Alan Hilligan and now heading to the line. So change up for 16th and 17th place there. Varish Gunpath has also managed to squeeze through. So it was a case of Hilligan holding those two cars up almost all race long. There in the foreground you can see third place Len Henry Goby. But we'll take these three to the line for the last bit of action here from the Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. Oh, and Hilligan runs wide. Hilligan under braking into Bridgestone corner runs wide. And fortunate to get back on track relatively easily. He's going to lose 2 or 3 positions though. Yeah, he loses out there big time. Einkamera comes through and so does the new man, Fabio Fedetto. But across the line to win that little battle out, it is Varish Gunpath for 15th. And Rob Gearing for 16th place as they cross the line and complete the 8 laps of action here for Bridgestone BMW Car Club Racing Series. Hope you enjoyed that first one. Up next, we're going to be heading into the Lotus Challenge. We'll be back shortly with commentary, but we'll leave you the sights and sounds here of Red Star Raceway. Well, as you join us, you can see that the comments are starting to fly here because Lotus Challenge is poised on a knife edge. Arguably the closest this championship has ever come down. Last year we saw, if you remember, at the final round here at Red Star Raceway, Jeff Kruger take his 4th back-to-back title in this championship, having to fight off the likes of Thomas Falkner. And unfortunately, some bad luck in that last round went the way of Thomas Falkner, and Jeff Kruger took the championship. This year out, and this time out, we have got 2 of the joint leaders on the front row of the Lotus Challenge. And it is once again Jeff Kruger from Universal Motorsport and Universal Healthcare Team that is on equal points with Mackie Adlam. Coming into this round where there are 14 points up for grabs in each of the respective heats, it literally means whoever wins out of the 2 races today between Jeff Kruger and Mackie Adlam could potentially wrap up this championship. But take nothing away from the fact that Rudy Barnard, Mackie Adlam's teammate, is only 10 points adrift. And anything goes wrong with those first 2, going to make it very difficult for Rudy Barnard. But he's still got a chance. It's an outside one, but never take Rudy Barnard out of the equation as well. As we head into race 1 now of the Lotus Challenge, proudly brought to you, of course, by our associate sponsors. It's great to have Vibro Brick and Paving, Lead Racing, Barney's Property Development and Rental, AA, and AB Baby. Here's the man with the number 1 plate. It's the 4th time he's had that number 1 plate. His dad just ahead of him there, Jeff Kruger for Team Red Racing. And getting a little shot there from John Kruger. Alongside him, his championship rival, Mackie Adlam. And if you look at the way things went in the qualifying this morning, a 2:06.1 from Jeff Kruger, a 2:07.7 from Mackie Adlam. So Kruger almost a second quicker than any of his rivals on track with that Team Red Racing Lotus of his. Behind them, it'll be Andre Human and Robin Creel in the second of the Universal Motorsport entries. There it is, car 19. That's the one to watch out for, and maybe doing some tail gunner duties to try and keep out Rudy Barnard's attack and assistance that he's looking to give to his teammate up the road there. So there'll be a little bit of in-house fighting there between the Adlam Auto boys and, of course, the Universal Racing and Team Red Racing brother and sister team there of Jeff Kruger and Robin Creel. David Kutsia is alongside Rudy Barnard on the 3rd row, along for the ride there and looking for a chance to maybe squeeze up there and help out a couple of his fellow V8 supercar drivers. Sean Hewitt and Gijs van der Walt will make up the 4th row, just ahead of Andrew Kenniston and Nick Dean. Sorry about that one, just trying to get the timing monitor to work again. It just went a little bit haywire on me as we started. Tinus Buertas at the back end of the front part of this pack. And then we go into, of course, Andre Duplessis, Nick Hodgson, Wes Maxwell, and Ruan van der Walt, who will be fighting for Class L honours today. We are under starters orders now and about to go racing for race 1 of the Lotus Challenge. Lights out and down towards turn 1 they go. Jeff Kruger getting off the line very nicely and heads down towards turn 1. A good start coming out of Andre Himan, and whoa, somebody on the grass already. Into turn 1, we got a grass tracker into turn 1 there. Not quite the way you want to be starting here at Red Star Raceway. It kind of helps in a Lotus to stay on the black stuff as opposed to playing around on the grass. I can tell you that from a motorcycle point of view as well as from a saloon car point of view. It definitely works better on the black stuff. Jeff Kruger into turn number 2. Andre Himan has managed to squeeze Mackie Adlam out. So Adlam did not get the start he wanted and is now having to fight it out. Look at that little battle for 4 ways. 4-way battle there for that 3rd, 4th, and 5th place. Robin Creel also not getting a great start just behind them. We've got a second pack of cars that also start things out here from the Lotus Challenge's point of view. We've got the National Sports Car class who are just in the background. We're going to keep an eye on them as they get into the thick of it, but not going to be concentrating too much on the events that are happening in the National Sports Car class because we have a championship to be decided here at the front end. There are 2 Lotuses leading that category out at this point in time. But the battle is for second place right now as Jeff Kruger starts to open up a commanding lead. As I say that, though, Robin Creel starts to put in a little bit of maneuvering to try and help her brother out in his attempt to win his 5th championship in the Lotus Challenge. And Andre Himan is starting to be a spoiler in the mix there as well. Similar colours there, and also out of the Adlam Auto Racing stable. The 3 Adlam Auto cars fighting at the moment. And the man who wants to try and win this championship, unfortunately, not where he wants to be, that is for sure. He's going to have to do some work from back in 4th place there. Will Mackie Adlam, that's certainly not where he wants to be starting things, that is for sure. But we'll wait and see as to how things go here for the first heat of Lotus Challenge. couple of cars with some issues on track as well. Looks like one of the sports cars slowing down there. One of the Nash Sports Specials there, just having a bit of trouble at this point. And having trouble as well. I'm trying to pick up on the timing monitor. I don't know if, Paul, you're having some issues of the same nature. The timing monitor is down there on Speed Hive. I'll try and pick it up somewhere else. But at this point, we are looking at Jeff Kruger about to complete his first lap in anger. One of 8 done there for Jeff Kruger as he crosses the line there ahead of the 3 Adlam Auto Racing cars. Sean Hewitt just behind that as they head down towards turn 1. Looks like that might be David Kutsia in the mix there as well. Robin Creel seems to have gone missing. I didn't see her come across the line, so there might be a bit of an issue there for Robs. That's a pity. Three-way fight here between the Adlam Auto cars. They're fighting with each other. They should be trying to use each other to the best effect that they can to try and close down on Jeff Kruger. See how things. I'm not sure what's going on here with just trying to get my timing monitor back up and running, so apologies for talking and working at the same time, but that's how busy it is in this cockpit. You've got to try and get everything to work to the best that we can. The live timing just seems to be having a little bit of an issue here at Red Star Raceway. It's just not picking up on the live timing. I'll try and pick it up on race monitor if I can. I don't know if I can pick it up on race monitor, but we'll have a look and see if it is coming through there on the race monitor as well. Now it looks like only the power series from Killarney being picked up on race monitor for this stage in. I don't know if Paul's been able to pick it up on his one. Yes, he has. There we go. I don't know what's going on with mine, Paul, but we'll hopefully get it right here at some point. Definitely not working here for whatever reason, but it is. Jeff Kruger currently lapping in the 2:11.0s from Rudy Barnard, Mackie Adlam, and of course Andre Himon. That's the fight for second. There is your leader in full flight down the back straightaway coming into the Bridgestone chicane. If I'm not mistaken, that looks like Jeff might be running the Dunlops that he had on his car for a couple of other race meetings that he participates in. Remember, he's also part and parcel of the inaugural championship in the Volkswagen and Global Touring Car Super Cup class, where he got second place literally by 1 point to Brad Liebenberg. Only a weekend ago, he finished up in second place in that first ever championship for the Global Touring Car Super Cup cars. Himon was up to second, but looks like Adlam has got back ahead of him there for second now. And Rudy Barnard there in the fourth spot. Current fastest lap at the moment, though, on the circuit is coming out of Peter Zeeley, a bit further back there in the National Sports Car class. He's starting to get in amongst some of those Lotus Challenge cars. We've got a Nash Sports Special coming into pit lane. That's definitely not what, I think that might even be Matt Nash at the wheel of that car that has pulled in there. Oh, change up for second. As Andre Himon comes back at Mackie Adlam. Adlam comes straight back at him, though, coming out of turn 6 and into the dog bone. So interesting to see how that's all turning around here for race 1 of Lotus Challenge. Nice little fight there between the teammates, but of course they should be fighting up the road there with not their teammate, but with Jeff Kruger. You can see the sports cars now, as I said, coming into the mix. Closing. As once again, a little bit of a glitch in the matrix here. We're not quite sure what's going down here, but we are definitely attempting to give you as much action as we can. There we go. Yeah, it's the 6.6 car of Sean Hewitt that, of course, has been closed down there by the speed special of Peter Zeeley. And here comes Andre Himon, has a look on the inside of Adlam. Adlam shuts the door into the Bridgestone chicane, so can't quite make it stick into Bridgestone. There's the speed special coming from the back. So Peter Zeeley is closed onto the front end, having started about half a lap back there on the front end of Lotus. Himon into turn 1. Chance for a change up into turn 1. Is he going for it? No, he doesn't. He stays line astern. Rooney Barnard passed relatively easily by Peter Zealy into turn number 2. And Zealy now up to 4th place overall on track. Waiting for a chance now to get through on Andre Heeman and Mackie Adlam. Further back there, Sean Hewitt fighting it out. And Hewitt now in a bit of a fight there of note, but a big fight on between the Adlam Auto boys. No team orders there by the looks of it. I like to see that, no team orders. Zealy goes flying past. They're not worried about him. He's not involved in their championship, so they'll let him through. Shouldn't give him too much of an issue, but you can see Andre Heeman trying to capitalize on the fact that the door was opened up there by Mackie Adlam. Adlam opens up the door and allows his teammate through, or his stablemate, both out of Adlam Auto. The battle continuing there big time between these guys. As we see now Mackie Adlam trying to get away, but unfortunately he's allowed Jeff Kruger to disappear up the road. And with that, very good possibility of losing more championship points here to Jeff Kruger. If it stays as it is now, and we're looking probably at just over the halfway stage of this one. I'm just trying to reboot my timing monitor to give me the exact times. No, it doesn't look like we're going to get anything out of that. Lap 4 by the looks of things completed there. So halfway stage is now reached by Jeff Kruger. Peter Zealy might be having a bit of fun with these guys. He's gone past them and now let them back through again. Maybe just wanting a little bit of a dice there of his own. Doesn't want to be stuck all on his own some at the back end or the front end of the field. But having said that, it's still Jeff Kruger controlling things on the front end. Is that Jeff Kruger on the sideline? Looks like we've got a problem there with our leader. As I said that, right out in front of our camera position at this point in time. I just want to pick up and see if it is actually Jeff Kruger. I think it may be. Or is that Robin? No, that's Jeff Kruger. The leader has pulled out of this one and Kruger's got a problem. Kruger pulls to the sideline out of the car and you can see him looking down at the engine, and then that is a massive, massive concern. Because if Kruger doesn't finish this, that means he's going to be 14 points down on Mackie Adlam, who is currently in 3rd place. Adlam will get, well, we won't get 14. He'll probably get, unless Andre Heeman lets him through. If Andre Heeman lets him through, then we may see a change up in this championship for the last round, which is a little bit later on this afternoon. So drama here at Red Star Raceway. Jeff Kruger, I was looking for him on circuit as I was trying to fix the timing monitor in front of me and didn't pick up on him. And he's now on the sideline and out of this one. So there's 14 points up for a win, 12 for second and 10 for third. And as they cross the line, Zealy is the official, of course, race overall leader. We don't have to worry about him, though. He's in the national sports car class. But the battle for second is in, or the battle for first place in Lotus Challenge is now into turn 2. And joining them at the back end of that one, by the looks of things, is going to be Glenn Rebello. So Glenton Rebello now onto the back end of the fight for the lead of Lotus. He's 2nd place in the national sports car class in what would be considered a Class B Lotus, or a Class A Lotus, I think it would be considered. And now into the thick of it, but Kruger's out of it. Can you believe it? The luck of Jeff Kruger is just going by the wayside here again. That is such a pity there for Jeff Kruger. So Kruger's got some problems on the sideline, which means it's going to be Mackie Adlam to take the lead of this one. 14, 12, 10. And at this point, Rudy is in third. So Rudy will make up the 10 points. So what we need to take into account here is Mackie Adlam leading out over his teammate Andre Himan. Himan's fighting with him, but I think Andre Himan will be aware of the fact that now Jeff Kruger parked on the sideline could change up things dramatically for this championship. He may give Mackie Adlam the opportunity to win this one. If he does, Adlam goes into the lead of the championship by 14 points. And Jeff Kruger and Rudy Barnard will be on even points if they stay as they are right now. That'll be a massive turnaround for this one, that is for sure. That's certainly not what a lot of people expected coming into this round of this championship. I just try and move things around here on my desk to bring in a timing monitor that's actually going to work for me. Because my ones I'm working with, Paulie's is. So we'll get Paul Bedford's timing monitor to get here. Help me out with some lap times. On the sideline, I can tell you that the Adlam Auto squad are pretty happy with the way it's turning out for their boys at this point. So, let's see if we're on the right lap here. The timing is battling a little bit. 6 laps completed now. They're on to the second last lap. And they head towards turn 4. Adlam at the front. If you're watching on the timing monitor as well, you'll see Peter Zealy and Glenton Rebello, but they, of course, are in the national sports car class. Mackie Adlam at this point in time leads out. And if he stays where he is, he goes 14 points into the lead. It'll bring Rudy Barnard to within 2 points of Jeff Kruger if he stays as it is. But if Andre Himan does what he's doing right now and has a bit of a fight with his stablemates, he could spoil the day here for Mackie Adlam. But there's no team orders, I'm sure, in the Adlam Auto pack. Class L at this point in time would be Andre Duplessis and Ruan van der Walt. So 29 and 25, 11th and 12th on track. Andrew Kinniston fighting with Tinus Boertes just ahead of him there. Nick Dean in the British Racing coloured machine. There's Robin Creel. She's back on track. Pity she can't stop on the sideline and swap cars with her brother, because he'll be thinking to himself, hang on a second, why is Robin's car working better than mine? Running those Dunlop tyres on both of the Universal Team Red Racing machines this weekend. Glenn Rebello trying to close down on the back end of Peter Zealy with about a lap to go, I would say. Timing monitor is battling. Yeah, 1 lap to go, final lap. Leaders into turn 1 and a battle royal into turn 2. Coming back into that battle any second now. We'll pick up on that action. There we go. Mackie Adlam from Andre Himan from Rudy Barnard. Rudy Barnard's got to move into second place if he wants to move into tied second place with Jeff Kruger. How's this for a turnaround in a championship? 2 races to go. Coming into the race on equal points, Mackie Adlam and Jeff Kruger. Adlam now going to take a 14-point lead over Kruger. And Rudy Barnard will move into tied second place with Jeff Kruger. That's if it stays as it is right now. Of course, if he moves ahead of Andre Himan and Rudy Barnard goes to second, he will take a 2-point lead over Jeff Kruger for the final race of 2020's Lotus Challenge. Incredible to see how this championship has always come down to the wire, particularly over the last couple of seasons. And more of the same to happen. Those 3. 11, 12 and 13th place on track at the moment, the battle for Class L. But watching 1, 2 and 3 coming out of the dog bone, And now through the little left flick, right-hander that brings them onto the back straight away. Adlam trying to hang on for the win. He's the man that's going to take the checkered flag here for Lotus Challenge. Peter Zeeley's gone across the line. He takes the win, of course, in the category. But now we look for, of course, the Lotus Challenge to come through. And who's going to have what it takes here? As they're coming to the line now. It is going to be Mackie Adlam. Adlam is going to move 14 points into the lead of this championship with this win. And Rudy Barnard tied for second place with Jeff Kruger, who's stricken on the sideline out of turn 3. We really are battling with the live timing, so apologies on that one. Nothing we can do about that. The speed hive does not seem to be working at the speed that we're used to. But we can tell you what's happening on track as well. A little bit further back, the Class L battle still to be sorted out here on the circuit as well. Adlam Auto 1, 2, 3. They'll be happy with that one. You can see them side by side as they head down towards turn 4. Mackie Adlam from the Adlam Auto Racing team has taken the lead of this championship with one race to go this season. He's got 14 points at the front end of this one. Second place is now tied between Jeff Kruger and Rudy Barnard with only one more race to go. That race, if you want to pick up on, will probably be just after 2 o'clock here on our live stream. From Red Star Raceway in Dalmas, we leave you with the sights and sounds. We'll be back shortly with commentary and the next race of the day, heading into the Pre-80 Saloons and Pre-90 Sports and GTs, courtesy of Universal Healthcare. Well, welcome back to action here from Red Star Raceway, and you're going to pick up on action now coming out of the Universal Healthcare prehistoric pre-80 saloons and pre-90 sports and GTs. And it looks like the men who should be on the front row of the grid have not made it back out onto the circuit, which is a big concern for me, because we should have Willie Hepburn and Stefan Schneiders on that front row, and the big Opel Record and Porsche are not on that front row. So we go to Jannie van Rooyen and Alan Green, who will then be gifted the first and second place on the grid if those two cars have not made it out. Behind them, watch out for a bit of manoeuvring from Stuart Koenig and Johan Smith, Marius Verwey and George Avakamides in the Porsche. And here's the white Porsche on the left-hand side there of Avakamides. Andre van der Merwe and René van Rensburg. It's Andre ten Apel and Rian Roux. If Roux got his car going, yes, he's got it going now. Had some problems earlier on in the Historic Pursuit Series, but he's back on track now. Behind Roux, we'll be picking up on Stuart McClarty and Ian Kilburn. Andre Danhauser in his Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. That's the Corolla virus that's running out there at the moment. And then it's Jaco Roux from Sean Hepburn, Rian de Roux, and finally Willem Foster right at the back of this pack. And nice to see for the final race meeting of the season for Universal Healthcare Pre-80 and Pre-90s. It's a big field that come to join us here at Red Star Raceway. Should be led out by Willie Hepburn and Stefan Schneiders, but unfortunately those two cars have not made it onto the grid. So it means that it'll now be up to Jannie van Rooyen to dictate the pace as they come round on their rolling start. I think they might just do the shortened version of the circuit for the warm-up, but we'll keep an eye on that one as we get going now for this first race of Pre-80 Saloons and Pre-90 Sports and GTs. Also just battling here with internet connectivity with our timing, so apologies if we don't get the timing right. We'll try and get that up and riding as quickly as we can. I know the boys at ZA Timing are working to try and sort it out, but there is a bit of an issue there with the timing monitor, and we're not even getting any live timing through the feed at the moment. Yeah, they are coming through on the shortened version of the circuit for the warm-up now for the prehistoric Pre-80 Saloons and Pre-90 Sports and GTs, the historic cars out there, courtesy of Universal Healthcare. And here we go for race one. Understarters orders now, waiting for those lights to go off. As soon as they do, it'll be up to Jannie van Rooyen and Koenig to maybe go and give it a run for his money. Into turn one to Alan Green. Green in the Ford Escort on the inside of turn one, looking for a chance now to maybe outgun Jannie van Rooyen. Johan goes through there, looking for a way through from the word go as well. Johan Smith there in the rotary-powered machine, just in the background, that little Mazda. Unfortunately dropped back into fifth place by the looks of things. He looks like he might have just been outgunned there by that little Mazda R100. Marius Verwey just squeezing him out and sneaking up one position. But it's Sirocco's 1 and 2. Jannie van Rooyen from Koenig as they come into turn 4 for the first time. Maneuver there from the back end as ten Apel has a go on the inside of Avakamides. Andre ten Apel in the second or the third of those Siroccos. Now putting the pressure onto the back end of the Porsche at 911 RSR. Feeling the pressure right from the word go there from Andre ten Apel, and had to just soak it up. But the two yellow machines out front there of Van Rooyen and Koenig disappearing as we speak. Johan Smith now with some problems of his own coming in the form of Avakamides' Porsche. But how's that diving on the inside? Late maneuvering there coming out of that Mazda R100. And looks like we're going to be in for a bit of a fight there as Marius Verwey tries to get into the mix there. Little Mazda R100 rotary-powered car up to third place now, tucked in behind the two Siroccos and right in front of Alan Green in the Ford Escort, who was on the front row and has now dropped down to fourth place. Green in the Mark 1 Escort, powering to try and get back at that R100. Class D battle at the front end of this field. Tucked in behind them, as I said, was the Porsche of Avakamides. Nice even spread here as they get onto that back straight for the first time, and some pressure from Koenig onto Van Rooyen. Those two yellow Siroccos are very evenly matched. You can see the sort of brighter lights of the second car there. It's one of the differentiating factors if you can't see them side on like we do right now, where you can actually see the numbers. Oh, and what a move there from Koenig. Diving into the Bridgestone chicane. Van Rooyen tries to come back at him. He manages just to squeeze him out and takes the lead of this race, heading into the first part and completing lap number 1. Fave behind that, Johan Smith, then Alan Green behind of Archimedes as they cross the line. So a couple of changes on that first pass. Most notably, the disappearance of our front row man, Alan Green, down into 5th place and into the clutches of Archimedes. And the second Porsche on track, Andre van der Merwe. So van der Merwe moving his way up now ahead of Archimedes. And he's also just ahead there of René van Rensburg in the Mark 1 Escort. That's the car we see in shot there, just ahead of Andre ten Apel. Fave has squeezed through, and maybe a change-up. Looks like there is a bit of a change-up. Yes, indeed, up into 2nd place there. It looks like it might be a bit of a problem for Koenig. Koenig's made a mistake. Koenig has made a mistake out there. And Stuart Koenig dropping by the wayside now down into 5th place. So it's Yanni van Rooyen who leads out down into turn 6 to hairpin. And on the brakes, he now has about 2 car lengths over Marius Fave. Fave in the R100, Johan Smith in the Capella has now moved up into 3rd place. Also rotary powered car for the 3rd spot of Smith, ahead of Alan Green in the Mark 1 Escort. So just a little bit of chopping and changing there after that mistake from Stuart Koenig. Dropped him down to 5th place. He's still in the mix though. You can see him just behind, by the looks of things, Andre van der Merwe. And in fact, as I say that, it looks like he actually might be dropping further back. He's got a problem. I picked up on the Ron Sirocco there. There's a couple out there, and that Sirocco of Stuart Koenig has now slowed dramatically into the dog bone. So lead car is Van Rooyen coming onto that back straightaway, chasing the trucks on the N12 highway. And no worries at all. Don't be alarmed if you do see trucks in the background. It does at some point look like they're on the same track as our race cars, but it is of course the N12 highway that runs parallel to the back straight here at Red Star Raceway. Nice move into the chicane. Oh, a great move there from Van der Merwe in the background. Andre going side by side with Green. Green trying to keep him out. Very tight stuff there between the Mark 1 and the Carrera RSR. One point in time there was a large amount of 911 Porsches involved in this class. In fact, it could have even been a Carrera Cup at one point. They headed down into turn 2 now, into turn 3, and the leader just commanding things at the front end. Van Rooyen doing it all right. We're just battling here big time with our timing, unfortunately, ladies and gents, and apologies for that. Nothing we can do about the timing. It is out of our hands completely. But we will try and get that back up and running as soon as possible. I think even if you're watching on the live timing from home, you may even be battling because there's a bit of an internet issue here at Red Star Raceway for our timekeepers. Morna and his boys are working frantically to try and get it back up and running as we're watching the action down into turn 6 and towards the dog bone. 2nd place battle up for grabs. It's the R100 of Marius Fave fighting there with Johan Smith. Oh, looks like Paul's got his one back up and running. So there you go. Thanks, Paulie. Just don't know what's happening here with mine. I think what I'm going to do on mine is I'm actually going to go off the Wi-Fi. See if I can swap it out onto my usual internet connection, and I might get better option on the timing. So Van Rooyen from Fave, and currently Van Rooyen 2-minute 12.3s coming out of Yanni Van Rooyen. That's the fastest lap of the race as well as the lead, and maintains that lead ahead of Marius Fave and Johan Smith. 2 Mazdas in full flight down the back straight, almost a kilometre long that back straight away. It's a 4K circuit here at Red Star Raceway if you've never been here before. And of course at this point of the season we are running in clockwise direction. The first 6 months of any race season they run in an anti-clockwise direction here at Red Star Raceway, giving drivers a chance to basically have the luxury of 2 circuits in one. Let's have a look and see if I get better option via Cell C. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see what happens. No luck. Same problem as we're having. There seems to be a bit of an internet issue. Anyway, I got it on Paul Bedford's tablet, and I can see what's happening in terms of this race. A little bit further back there, picking up on action as well, with René van Rensburg having a bit of a fight there with Andre Ten Apel. Mark 1 Escort and the third Volkswagen Sirocco as they go into turn 5 and down the short straight. Just behind George Vakamides. See, Andre van der Merwe might have had a bit of an issue there as well. He's dropped slightly back into the clutches of René van Rensburg and Andre Ten Apel, but no worries at all for 111, Yanni van Rooyen. Verwey has gone down one position, losing that place to Johan Smith in the Mazda Capella. A bit of a rotary battle there for second place as well, and Alan Green can possibly smell some blood in the water. It may have a rotary taste to it because he's now onto the back end of that R100 looking for a way through. Once again, like, the timing is frozen. Not going to worry too much about that. We'll just talk about what we can see on track as the two Mazdas get onto the back straight away. Look at the power differential there between the rotary machines and that little 1600cc Mark 1 Escort. Rotaries definitely have got the straight line pace, and Verwey has got great straight line speed to close in on Smith. But to close in and get past is a difficult thing to do here at Red Star Raceway. Another lap down, and that is now Van Rooyen completing another one at the front end of the field. Andre van der Merwe ahead of Vakamides. And then it's René van Rensburg and Ten Apel down towards turn 1. Big margins opening up there, but it's kind of like 3 packs of cars having their own little fights there. You've got the leader out front, no worries at all for Van Rooyen there, you can see him. The second pack is the 2 rotary-powered cars and Alan Green. The third pack are the 2 Porsches. And then you've got Van Rensburg and Ten Apel. So Mazda Capella now starting to pull slightly from the R100. And at this point in time, I don't think there's going to be much changes here other than possibly Alan Green and Verwey. Ooh, smoke! Smoke out of the Capella into the hairpin, and a problem there in turn 6. The hairpin, we saw the Capella just smoking under braking. I don't know if it was just late braking and maybe just locked up the wheels, but certainly a problem there for Smith. No problems at all at this point in time, though, for this little fight. Also starting to rage a bit further back there. Nice to see Andre Danhauser fighting with McClarty. Stewie McClarty is changed up into a new car for the weekend. It's not his usual steed of choice. He's normally in the old Mazda 323. But a new car may be being developed for next year if they're for Stewie McClarty. Little Mark 1 Escort on the back end of that Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. Possibly the lead of Class F there between Danhauser, who locks up into the hairpin. Yeah, definitely having some problems of his own there. Let's see if I can pick up on that class fight as we speak about it. McClarty is Class E and Danhauser Class G, actually. So, well, he's got F on the side of his car. I don't know. Maybe they've reclassified those cars. They can do that, of course, during the race meeting. So, Class F battle there between Danhauser and McClarty. Yanni van Rooyen doing it all right with the front end, though. And maintains a very good margin over that car. Second place at this point in time, of course, the Mazda Capella of Johan Smith. And now the pressure being applied by Alan Green onto the second R100, well, the first R100, but the second rotary car on track of Marius Verwey. Verwey under threat now from Alan Green as he looks to try and just get ahead there and find a way to the front end and possibly spoil the day for third place in Class D. The Class D battle has been a good one at the front end, that's for sure. Continued fight there for Class F as well. Class C at this point in time being led out, as you can see, by that Mazda Capella of Johan Smith. But the Class D battle is what we're watching as well. There we go, moving into the back of Class F. A 31 machine, slowly but surely making his way into that fight is Yakuru. And then just behind that, if I'm not mistaken, will be Sean Hepburn. So Sean Hepburn has now joined the fray for what would be Class F honours here on track. Hepburn, of course, the number 1 plate from last year. So not only the Class F champion, but the overall champion too for Historic Saloons. Also got the Charlie Super Spar Pursuit Series results being sent to me. I'll read those just afterwards. Also got it sent to me. Thanks, Paulie. I'll get that out just before we go into the break between the races. But Jack Daniels and Big Boss Auto Ford Escort of McClarty just having a good outing there in his first time in that Mark 1 Escort. Leader crosses the line again and completes another lap. That is Stuart Koenig in the ailing second Volkswagen Sirocco. He's back on track, but he's a long way down. Oh, turn 1, some locking up from Tenapel by the sounds of things, as Hepburn goes to battle and continues to fight it out with Andre Danhauser. So it's Datsun GX Coupe, GX 1200 versus the Volkswagen Sirocco, the Toyota Corolla of Andre Danhauser. Let me get my teeth back in my mouth there. I'm going to go blue teeth here with all the technology we're using. Van Rooyen, according to my timing monitor now, which is just refreshed, is on his second last lap. So hopefully that's the case, and we've got that timing monitor back up and running. I can't get it back up on my system for whatever reason. I'm not quite sure why. As we're into the closing stages here of the first heat of the Universal Healthcare Pre-80 Saloons and Pre-90 Sports and GT category. Yannick van Rooyen is the man they've all got to try and catch. And we're just waiting for him to come onto that back straightaway now. There he goes. And now just got a couple more corners to negotiate. About 8 kilometers of racing still to go here for him. Van Rooyen completes the penultimate lap. Starts the final one ahead of Johan Smith. Smith not giving up that one without a fight though. Further back in the pack there as well. Continued action, as we said, between the likes of Rion Roux, Stuart McClarty, Yakuru, and of course Andre Danhauser. And they'll be fighting to the line as well as we're watching the leader head down towards turn 4. In the background you can see that little fight there. That's Rion Roux in the mint-coloured Sirocco as Van Rooyen heads into turn 5. Holding on to the lead so far and doesn't look like he's going to be bettered. The Mazda R100 of Maurice Fauve's dropped back dramatically. He's actually dropped right behind the 2 Porsches that we've got in shot right now as they head into turn 5. So Andre van der Merwe hanging on to the lead there just ahead of George Vakamidis. And that could be how things finish up in the class as well. So overall it's Yannick van Rooyen looking for Class C honours and for the overall win. Class D just behind him. And oh, big problems here. Coming across the line, Rene van Rensburg with a very battle-scarred Mark 1 Escort. Will he be pulling into the pit lane? I think he might just pull it onto the sideline and out of harm's way if he can. A little bit of issues there for Rene van Rensburg on the second last lap. From the reaction of what I heard up here in the gallery with all the pit lane fraternity and some of the mechanics that are sitting on the sidelines. We don't have any spectators yet today. Everybody that's here is either a family of people that are racing. There's a limited amount of people that can join the race teams, or their mechanics. And standing by now for the checkered flag, as Yanni van Rooyen's going to be taking the win and Class C honours here ahead of Johan Smith. There it is. Smith comes through. Third car across the line should be the Porsche of Andre van der Merwe. And if I'm not mistaken, that'll be for the win in the pre-90s. Just trying to pick up on that class if I can find it in the program here quickly. Okay, well, he's not on the official entry list, but I would say that's probably the win in the pre-90s there for Andre van der Merwe, and Avakamides in second place in that class, third and fourth overall on track. A bit further back there, we're also watching the 15 car right at the back of the field there of Rian de Roux. But the winner there is Yanni van Rooyen, and of course taking Class C honours as well for the first heat of the Universal Motorsport and Universal Healthcare Pre-80 Saloons and Pre-90 Sports and GTs. Rian Roux will come through to complete the lineup there and make up what is the first 8 cars across the line. Marius Verwey eventually finishing in 5th place ahead of Andre Tenapel and Alan Green, our front row man, in 7th place. Then Roux, Rene van Rensburg. I don't know if he's going to make it all the way around there after the battle scars I saw on that little Mark 1 Escort of his. And now final bit of action to the line. Here they come. Nice battle all the way through there between Jaco Roux, Danhauser and McClarty. McClarty just beating Danhauser to the line in the last lap. And the Big Boss Auto Mark 1 Escort beats out the Pro Auto Rubber Toyota Corolla. And a nice little point of attack there for Andre de Kock sitting next to me here from the Citizen Motoring. On the back end of that Corolla, they've actually put a sticker that says the Corolla virus on it. Just quite lacquer for the times that we're living in right now. A little bit of humor to go with it. We'll be back soon with some more commentary action. And of course, coming out of... Oh, beg your pardon. No, we won't be back soon. We'll be back at about 1:15 after the lunch break. And back with Charlie's Super Spar Historic Pursuit Series, because that brings us to the first part of our action to be completed here at Red Star Raceway. We certainly hope you've enjoyed all the action so far, courtesy of all our sponsors today. And we'll be back at about 1:15 for action for the second heats of the day's racing here from the final round of Historic Tour and Inland Championship. From Red Star Raceway, myself, Greg Maloney, the voice of choice. We'll see you at about 1:15 for part 2.